to the Office Corner with H.C. Campbell. The show is packed with news, author interviews, specials all about you, the author. And now here's our host, H.C. Campbell.
Hi, welcome to the Office Corner with H.C. Campbell. As always, I'm your host, H.C. Campbell. I'm doing a special Sunday edition of the Office Corner right before Sunday's Best airs on BET. Why am I doing that? Well, I have a very exclusive interview with Miss Lici Lewis. Lici Lewis is a contestant, and she stopped with me to tell me her story as well as sing a few bars for me. In addition, I have two very powerhouse authors. I have legal thriller author Norwood, Holland. He has the Drew Smith series. And I also have a longtime friend and a great author of a new book called Clothesline Blues. It's a historical fiction which focuses on the Civil Rights era. Her name is Barbara Grovner, and when we come back, we're going to start the ball rolling with Lici Lewis. Do you need a manuscript edited? Perhaps you need a press kit or some ghostwriting done. HD Campbell Productions will offer the most professional services at the best price. We also do book trailers, publicity, newsletters, and more. Check out more in the online marketplace section on my website at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. So you believe the Bruce Williams story concluded in How to Lose a Black Woman? Well, Bruce Williams begs to differ. Find out what's been going on with Bruce Williams in the sequel titled Geraldine, coming soon. Welcome back to the special edition of the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. Our first guest is singer Lici Lewis. She's a Sunday Best contestant, she's in the top 20, and she has a powerful story to tell. So, here in a few hours, she's going to sing, but for now, you can listen to her interview right here on the Author's Corner. Here she is. All right. So, first, I want to start off with how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
All right.
Such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. I want to thank you so much for speaking to the Author's Corner. I mean, this is definitely a pleasure and an honor.
You're welcome.
So everything going okay today? Kind of nervous about tomorrow, or?
Everything's going great. You know, everything's moving along on this journey, and I'm just excited to be here.
Okay. Well, before we get started with anything current, I want to take you back some. How old were you when you first discovered your talent for singing?
Wow. When I first discovered, I was about 3 years old. My mom had me on tour everywhere we went, the grocery store, family members' houses. I was like, wow, I must do this kind of good. Okay.
So at what point did you say, okay, I can sing, and you just start, where did you first actually start singing?
Well, I started singing at church, actually. I grew up New Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Wiley L. Dunn, Houston. He's passed away now. But that's where I grew up, got baptized there, joined the choir at 3, was too small to be in the choir, couldn't get a robe. My aunt had to make me something that looked like a robe for me to be able to sing. And when I recognized that performing and entertainment was what I wanted to do, was to use my gift for life, I was about 13 years old, and it didn't turn into ministry until my relationship with Christ grew.
Okay. Well, as you got older, or even at 3 years old, who were some of your musical influences?
Wow, my mom always sang to me. Always sing to me. I would sing with her all the time. She writes, she sings. And we would clean up singing, and we had a piano in the house, and my brothers, we would all get around the piano, and two of my brothers can actually play, and they would play, and we would just make up songs, and sing all through the house.
I'm just gonna say this as an aside. It's wonderful when you can have a musical family and a musical family background. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it really does.
And I can tell with the passion in your voice that that's just, I can see, cause I just met your daughter about a few minutes ago, and it sounded like you're about to pass on the torch there in a little while. So I may have the same interview in another, shall I say, 12, 13, 14 years.
Baby. Actually, I'm really excited about my baby girl. She's just 16 months old, and she's banging on the piano. And my 14-year-old, she plays the violin, so it's music all over the house.
Like I say, that makes all the difference in the world. So, besides your mom, what internally influences you?
I have a drive. I'm driven by change. I love to see what happens when I open up my mouth and let God fill it. I love to see the transformation that happens when the anointing goes out from me. And, it's all the time. It's not so deep. But sometimes it's just bringing a smile on somebody's face, looking like they just disgusted and down. And you sing a song to them, and then they start smiling, and they're feeling better.
Right.
So I'm motivated by the change that can happen in the soul of man and the heart of man when I use this gift God has given me.
Well, I want to ask you a quick aside question. You're always smiling, you're always happy. Spoke to your husband earlier, he's always happy, he's always smiling. What drives that? I love people who are always smiling.
Wow. It's conquering a lot of hurdles in victory. It's withstanding a lot of adversity and choosing to still smile. That's what that is. It's not that we don't have the same challenges that everybody else has. We've been married almost 16 years, and we tell everybody we've been to hell and back.
Mm-hmm.
But we made it, and we still are holding hands and still walking through our marriage and our life together. So that's what brings the joy, that what the enemy meant for bad and all of the things and the opposition that has come against our marriage and our family, we've been able to overcome. We've been able to forgive. We've been able to go to counseling, just whatever it took, pray together to be able to maintain our relationship and our family on the up regardless. So that's where that joy comes from.
Well, Lici, I'll tell you this, with all that goes on in this world, with people hopelessly, divorce rates and all this other stuff, you guys are a shining example on what a good marriage is and what a good couple is.
Wow. Thank you. Nothing but grace.
And don't thank me. That had nothing to do with me. That's all God. That's all you guys, and that's all God. Now I'm going to... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying thank you.
Oh, that is no problem. Now I'm going back into my time machine, and I'm moving up a little forward now. At what point did you were in church and you decided, man, I want to... What made you decide that I may want to do this professionally?
Well, I always dreamed about it. Ever since I would see, performance on television and different things like that, I'd get my broom and my brush and go in the room and pretend that was my video or that was me on the radio, And it became really, really serious for me when I was in high school. I got a chance to be in a musical, and I was like, wow, I could really do this, professionally, And then I joined a group, and we did an album together, wow. Dynamic Voices of Praise, years ago, 6 women. And I was still in college, and we used to perform around town, and I was like, wow, you can record, you can do this for God, And I don't know, it became a part of me. So after that, the Lord released me from that group, and I did a single that no one will ever hear.
Uh-oh. Why not? Come on.
You need to stay learning production and learning how to mesh vocals and different stuff like that. And after that single, I said, I think I'm ready. And so I really started pursuing and grinding, and my husband, he supported me fully, going in the studio, trying different things, and I guess that progression and people seeing what I've done up until this point and that history has brought me to a place, this platform now.
Okay. Well, actually, I was going to ask this question earlier, but I'm going to ask the question later, and I'm going to go ahead and ask it now. You have a wonderful mix of sounds, a wonderful mix of different genres. Can you explain what mix of genres that you use in your singing?
Well, I call it inspirational soul. I call it inspirational because, of course, it's uplifting. And I call it soul music because soul music is twofold. It touches the soul and the heart of man. Musically, in genre of soul music, is there are different types of soul. You have a neo soul. Mm-hmm. You have R&B soul. And then there's this old time soul, which a lot of people refer to as that gospel sound or whatever. Jazz is deeply embedded within me. So I would say that my sound is a fusion of neo soul and jazz. And I have fun, with R&B, and that seems to be a current sound that's out for radio play and for video play, that's out there. But if you catch me in a live set and you hear the authentic voice that I have, you're going to hear jazz and you're going to hear soul. So neo soul and jazz. I'm moving to be more futuristic and moving into what is current as far as the movement of the industry. So you can't help but touch that R&B sound. But it's all Jesus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all Jesus, no matter what soul. Soul has such a huge range, from Chrisette Michelle to Anita Baker to Rochelle Farrell to Jill Scott. There's such a wide range. With Angie Stone, Music Soul Child, that's that sound. And I love that sound, but I love Jesus. So I give what I give in my own language to those of them that understand that sound. And that's more of the evangelistic side of my ministry.
I'm glad you brought that up. One of my biggest debates that I've had with people is the fact that you can have different mixes of sounds. You can actually have all types of genres that, as long as you're speaking for the Lord, it doesn't matter. If it's good music, it's good music. And I'll have a lot of in other words, I'll just say I get in debates with a lot of quote unquote traditionalists who will criticize. What do you say for those type of critics?
Well, I believe that God speaks to us in the language that we will understand. Mm-hmm. And there are certain people in society who have not reached the point to where they have bridged over from the world to the church. And so what we have to do, he said, go into the world and tell them about me. And some of us are called to actually do that in preaching, and some of us are called to do that in singing. I consider myself a bait for Christ, but I also consider myself a bridge also, because I can go and minister to the one that loves soul music, that loves R&B, and give it to them in their language. But I'm a bridge also, because I can sing holy, 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 and I can be able to go minister, worship and enter into the presence of God. It's all about what the assignment is. So if this is the assignment that I have right now, then I have to follow through and obey God. And what those critics may think, then that's fine. They can take that up with God. But what they have to understand, everybody doesn't hoop and holler when they preach. Some people teach and they speak to you in dialogue. Some people, like a Bible discussion. Everybody has their own style of ministry. And we have to respect whatever it is, whether it's rap, whether it's play, whether it's television. There are a lot of new innovative things that God has brought into the body for us to be able to reach people. So if that's not your lane, don't criticize it. If you don't understand, pray about it.
That's it. Before I go on my next question, I'm just going to make this statement, then I'll move on. However you decide to make a joyful noise unto the Lord, you make it. And you do make it well. You make it very well.
Oh, thank you.
That is no problem. Again, don't thank me, thank God. My next question, though, and this is kind of I'm not going to say stupid question, but I'm just going to ask, why gospel?
Man, I love God. I love God. And I have to sing about it. It's like whatever your passion is, you have to sing about it.
Absolutely.
You know, I love my husband. Yes, I've written songs for him. But that love that I have with him, it compares nothing to the magnitude of the love that God has shown me. And that's my way of saying, hey, I love you back by submitting my gift to him and singing about him and telling people about him. It's just because I love him. I don't feel obligated. It's a passion for me.
See, I love that. I'm loving your attitude. I'm just I can't stop smiling because I just love your attitude. You know what I mean? You just have such a wonderful attitude about life, about your craft, about everything. My next question is, have you performed anywhere? Have you performed anywhere, like any shows, any plays, or anything?
Yes, I've been in plays. It's been a while since I've done plays. Since my schedule has been so busy with the show, it's a lot of things that's been going on. And I do have some things scheduled coming up at the House of Blues in Houston, and some other exciting things that are coming up. And if you go to LiciOnline.com to my calendar, I will be releasing those dates very soon. I have not released them as of yet. Lici, Lici, online.com. There's a calendar there, and I will be releasing those dates. So the show has pretty much had us very busy.
Okay. Now, speaking of which, I'm headed there right now. What started your road to Sunday Best?
Oh my gosh. I auditioned for season 4, and I did not make it to the 3rd round. I only made it to the 2nd round, and I got cut. And I said, you know what? That's not for me. That's not my platform. I'm not going to worry about it. Great experience, you know? Mm-hmm. And so for this season of Sunday Best, I told my husband and all my friends, I was like, I'm not going. I already tried. I'm not what they're looking for. I'm not wasting my time, you know. And my husband was like, babe, you got to go. It's in Houston. It's in our own city. You don't know what God will do this time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I've already did it before. And no matter what people say, when you get cut, you do feel it. You feel that cut. Mm-hmm. And there's a fear of rejection that comes just like with failing at anything else, you know, to where you don't really want to push and try. And so I was dealing with that the day before the audition. And my phone kept blowing up. You're going, you gotta go.
You need to go now, right?
And someone really special to me told me, they said, look, your husband has invested in your ministry for so many years. Your family believes in you. Don't go for you. Go for your children. If you can live your life singing with your gift and make a better life for you and your family, if you can be able to, you know, take the load off of your husband and everything that he's having to do to support your ministry, you know, why don't you try it? It's worth a try. And I thought about it, and I looked at my kids, and I looked at my husband. I said, you know what? I'm not going for me this time. I'm going to go for you guys. And if I make it, great. And if not, my motivation was you guys. So I dedicated my performance actually to my children and my family when I went. I went, made it through. They had to deliberate a little bit on me because I'm kind of uniquely different, which I think is great. They decided to give me 3 yeses, and hey, I'm on the show, top 20 out of 15,000 people. It's like, wow, 7,000 in Houston.
I saw you. You gave it your 100% absolute best. You did great at it.
Wow, thank you so much.
No, don't worry. You're talking to a fan of the show, so it is not a problem. That is not a problem at all. So, which actually brings me to my next question. This is more of a personal type of thing. You were so well received by the fans, the judges. How does that make you feel? I know it's got to be overwhelming, but how does it make you feel?
I am going through a paradigm shift in my thinking, because I feel like, hey, I'm the inspirational soul artist Lici. I've been this for years, and now the world is just finding out about it. You know, and so they jump on the ride of my journey and the ride of my destiny. But at the same time, I have to be aware of the perception that is out there from people. And people keep telling me, oh, Lici, oh my gosh, you're on Sunday best. I can't believe it. And I'm the one on Sunday best. And I'm like, wow. So I'm noticing, you know, how it's being received. And I have to be delicate in how I handle people more than what I really used to, because I'm not used to people getting all excited and crazy and, you know, all over me. And at the same time, I have to not just receive them and understand where they're coming from, but I have to point them to Jesus. So in staying in a place, a sober place, and staying in a place of humility, I've got to go through this shift in my mind as all this popularity is coming at me. That wait a minute, you're not all that. It's God in you. It's Christ in you. Respect, you know, the joy that they have for you. Receive the love that they have for you. But make sure up here that you stay low. Don't get the big head. Don't get the ego. Just receive the love. Tell them thank you and say, hey, to God be the glory. And that's where I'm at right now.
You know, I'm going to go with my inner hypocrite here and say I kind of jumped on your husband a little bit. You know, the reason I say inner hypocrite because I do the exact same thing. When I told your husband, don't apologize so much, everything is all good, which I do the exact same thing. I said all that to say that how can I put this? You're already humbled because of the God in you. You're already who you are because of the God in you. If people appreciate your message, that's the God in you. So you don't even have to worry about ego or none of that. God's got that. God's got the rock in you, got the big boulder in your hand to keep you on the ground from from rising up too far above the clouds. So you're just fine. So for my next question is, where do you see yourself next year?
Wow. Next year, I'm trusting God that I will be internationally traveling, spreading the word of God through this tool called music. I want to do Vegas. I want to do Broadway. I want to do outside of the church box because there's a people to be reached that is outside of the four walls of the church. Evangelism is what's driving me and what has been driving me for some time. You know, I want to do the lounges, city to city, not just the House of Blues in Houston, but House of Blues in other cities. I want to open up for other artists and give them something different than what they necessarily came there for, and leave them with the imprint of what God has given me upon their heart. That's what I want. And prayerfully, I'll be signed to do that because, you know, it takes resources to reach the world. You know, money answers all things. That's what the word says.
That's it. Amen on that one. So now my next question is, do you have anything besides the show lined up that you're doing?
Wow. Oh, my God. For me, outside of the show, I am working on an album. I hadn't got the name of the album yet, but I'm working on a project. I have a mixtape that I'm in the studio doing also.
Nice.
Full of covers with my interpretation of the different songs, just like we do on the show.
Right.
You know, they give you music, they give you songs by other people, and you give your interpretation. And so I'm enjoying that so much that I'm in the studio doing some to put on YouTube so that people can hear more of me, you know. And my greatest joy, though, actually, is this next project. Working on this next project because I know God is all in it. And with the platform, like I said, God has given me, I'll be able to deliver it and reach more people. So that's what's going on with me.
Yeah, I'm loving that. I'm loving that. So now my next, so I guess my next question with that is, I usually give my authors, or my artist or whomever I interview the final word, basically, as far as anything they want to say, anything they want to promote, any words of wisdom they want to give.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to say is be you. A friend of mine, she wrote a book called Authentically Me. Be authentic to who you are. Be authentic to who you are. Don't try to fit in. Don't try to be ordinary, because God gave you something specifically for people. And as, like I said, everybody may not understand it, but chart your course that God has had for you and stay in your lane. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. And that's one thing I love to share with people. Also, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're going through in your circle, know that God loves you and he sees you right where you are. And change can happen for you with just a want to. That's all you need is a want to.
Absolutely.
If you have a want to, that's all you need. And if you don't have a want to, guess what? You can pray and say, God, you know what? I'm loving my life. I know it's filthy. I know it's a mess, but I'm really enjoying this. And the only way it's going to change is if you give me a want to. And he will give you a want to. And that's like the most important thing I could say that I could share with people, right now. Be you and know that God can do it in you. It's not on you to get it done. It's not on you to walk out your soul's salvation on your own. He empowers you to be able to do it. He gives you the power to be able to walk it out. It's his desire in you.
Amen. Now, where can I get to know you? Where can I find out about your music, catch up with you, keep up with you on Sunday Best? How can I get to know Lici?
Well, LiciOnline.com. Again, that's LICI online.com. Also, I'm on Facebook, The Inspirational Soul Artist Lici. I'm on Twitter, LiciLew1_SB6. That's LICILEW 1_SB6, which is also my Instagram. So, if you hit me up on social media, subscribe to my YouTube, because I got new songs coming out very frequently from the vault of this mixtape that we're doing. You can be able to stay abreast on what's happening in my world.
Okay. And also now, I was wondering, asked a favor of you earlier, I was wondering if you could adore us with the song.
Sure. I love you. I love you. I love you, Lord, today, because you care for me in such a special way. That's why I praise you. I'll lift you up and I'll magnify your name. That's why my heart is filled with praise.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. I love it. I love it. I hope you were taking notes. All you need is a want to. If you have a voice and you have a dream, don't let anything stop you. Whether you're an author like myself, whether you're an artist, whether whatever. If you have a dream, you go for it. Now, you know who else has some great advice? Norwood, Holland. You know what he writes? Legal thrillers. You know when you're going to meet him? When you come right back to this Author's Corner. See you soon. Have you checked out the new H.T. Campbell Productions website lately? It has new interactive features. More information on books, services, shows, and more. Check out videos, slideshows, and more at www.htcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
What is H.T. Campbell Production, you ask? It's a collective of editing services, books, promotion, and more. Find out more about these services in addition to shows and columns at www.htcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome back to this special edition of the Author's Corner. Our next guest is Norwood Holland. Norwood Holland writes legal thrillers. In fact, he writes legal thrillers about an attorney named Drew Smith. He wrote 3 books about Drew Smith. Drew Smith is a wonderful, wonderful attorney and a great black hero. If you love John Grisham, you're going to definitely love Norwood Holland. Here's his story.
Probably the biggest influence was my mother. I mean, she taught me how to read and write before I started school. So I didn't have benefit of nursery school or kindergarten. It was just me and my mother. But my mother used to like to read a lot of Pulp Fiction. There was always the dime paperbacks laying around the house. And I think when I was about 12 years old, one summer I was bored before school started. And I picked up a book by Harold Roberts that my mother had been reading called Never Love a Stranger. And I really got into the book. And I think at that point, I thought that I wanted to be a writer. I was about 12 years old now. And as I grew older, I started getting lots of books for Christmas and Langston Hughes, which is early high school years. I liked his plays, I liked his short stories, and his biographies. He was on the road, so he traveled a lot, and I just thought that was a very romantic lifestyle. And he acquired a lot of experiences, which became source material in the book. So that was the early influence on my decision to write. But that road hasn't been a straight one. Had lots of on and off exit points and a lot of detours. So it's taken a while to get to this point.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're speaking to a fellow Langston Hughes fan. Well, any major writers of the Holland Renaissance and before, it's like Langston Hughes, Eliot, the list just goes on and on. So, so we kind of have sort of a lot of that in common, writing at an early age, Langston Hughes. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Well, and I was very fortunate in that I went to HBCU, Fisk University, and I had my senior year, I had Professor Honor Bond Thompson, another Harlem Renaissance figure. He did a seminar on the Harlem Renaissance. And like every Tuesday afternoon, he did this 2-hour session, and he kept us captivated talking about the authors of the Harlem Renaissance. Well, I did a term paper on Langston Hughes. At that time, I had no idea that they had been the best of buddies. I think Langston Hughes had been dead about 4 or 5 years at this point. I didn't know that they had been the best of friends until 2 years later. A book called Letters, edited by a guy named Nichols. It's a collection of letters exchanged between Langston Hughes and Honor Bond Thompson in the 1930s on to the 1960s. And at that point, I was blown away because Professor Bond Thompson gave me an A on my term paper, and here I was writing about his long lost friend, well, not lost, but his deceased friend. And so I thought, he must have been reading my term paper, and I must have been mediating between the two because, like I said, I got an A+. And that was quite, I never got the paper back until the week after graduation on a Bond Thompson died. So I just felt that was a particular connection between me and my idol, that somehow I had reached this circle, even though I didn't live long enough for me to meet him, talk to him, but I got pretty close to him, I figured.
See, and like I said, you blow me away with that story. Like I say, I mean, I don't even know what to say behind that, simply because of the fact that I mean, I guess what I could really say is you have an amazing
Well,
gift influenced by an amazing person. That's what I can say. But go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, well, with I guess the influence there was Honor Bontown.
Mm-hmm.
I had never, I had, at that point, even then when I was a student, and I had read it in his books, but he was relaying to us all these intimate stories about Mellow Lawson and Lord Neil Hudson and County College and this is a circle of friends. He was relaying us all these intimate details to us. That was quite a memorable experience. And there are not many people who have that kind of experience. And, not many of those who aspire to write who can be nurtured by some of the greats.
Okay.
But there's been a whole host of things. I always wanted to write. I couldn't get into journalism school. I majored in English and I wanted to go to McGill or Columbia. I wanted to study journalism, but of course I couldn't get into any school. I was rejected. So I ended up going to law school, which turned out to be a good thing.
Okay.
Studying law and working in law provided a whole nother body of experiences that I could draw from in literature. So sometimes you can't take the path to choose, but the one you end up on can be a pretty good one.
Okay. Because he actually. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was a reluctant lawyer because I didn't think I could. It would take me into a field of literature, but it ended up being a perfect preparation.
Actually, to be honest, that's actually where I was about to get into. There, it's like, well, first I'm going to ask, at what point did you want to write a novel? But I also was going to ask, why legal thrillers? And basically, you answered some of that for me.
Well, I always knew I wanted to write a novel. And it really took 20, 30 years for me to get around to it. I said, well, I'm not getting any younger. So about 2 years ago, I said to myself, I'm going to write a novel before I turn 40. And the clock was ticking. So I did it. I finished ahead of my deadline, and it was done. Now, why legal thrillers? Well, when I was trying to learn how to write, I was trying to freelance, and I kept going to conferences, writers' conferences. And the big thing was you have to have a platform. You have to write from a platform. You have to have something to draw on. And I said, okay. And they kept saying, well, you're a lawyer, and that the legal field needs to be a platform. So I decided after seeing, I can't think of his name right now. His name escapes me. The writer out of Mississippi, the guy who writes all those legal thrillers, John Gresham.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading his books, and I said, oh, I think
I'm a huge Gresham fan. Exactly right.
Yeah. And then, I said, well, you never see any books with people of color, no African American heroes, We're usually just background characters and a lot of popular fiction stuff, but I want to see a black lawyer as a hero. And that's when I created the character Q Smith. But at the same time, there was a sister in California, Pamela Samuel Young, doing the same thing, and she created a black female lawyer. And beat me to the publication was her legal thriller series. Another Jefferson, I think is her character. And so about a year or two later, I came out with Juice Smith.
Okay. I'm going. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we were sort of pioneering in the legal thriller series for people of color.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm very big on. I'm number one. I'm very big on characters. I'm a character-driven person. I'm very big on Black heroes, African American heroes in novels. The reason I asked for your website earlier because well, see, I'm in the process of ordering a couple of your books. Like I say, I love characters, but I want you to tell me who is Drew Smith and how does he relate to Norwood, Holland?
Well, first of all, there are 4 books in the series, but only 2 are published, and 2 are in production.
Okay.
So, the first one is Sleepless Nights.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Smith is not Norwood Holland. I always have to. People always want to know, well, how much of your biography is in the book? Not much at all. Drew Smith is purely a figure of my imagination. I wanted him to be sophisticated, educated, erudite. I wanted him to be a bit of a womanizer, but I wanted him to have a strong moral character. I wanted him to be a very attractive character, both physically and character-wise. So, but he's flawed. He's not perfect in any way. He has issues as well. When the first book opens up, Drew Smith is probably in his late 30s. And because he's been such a womanizer, he's well into his career, he's going into middle age, and he's still single. And he regrets never having married. A situation arises where the great love of his life went on to marry someone else. Her son gets in trouble. He's accused of this vicious crime, which was based on an actual crime in D.C. In 2003, I believe it's called the Chromebooks tab murders, and I sort of drew on that situation. And this old girlfriend comes back in his life and wants her to defend her son. And of course, as things unravel, her son turns out to be his son. Drew Smith is also suffering from psychological problems, which comes out in the second book. The first book is sort of like immediate the story, his life story is well into, like I say, into his middle age. In the second book, -1, we go back 20 years to when he finishes law school and starts his practice. And his first case, he takes on a case where one of his buddies, an Arab, an Egyptian named Medhat, is accused of murder. Well, -1 is all about that incident, how he tried to defend Medhat. And the case is very tragic endings, which leaves Drew's scar because of Medhat's death. But that is what causes the psychosis. In the first book, Sleepless Nights, because my stories are complete fantasy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're only stories that I would imagine or I would like to see myself in, you know. But that's the extent of it. Now, the name of the character, Drew Smith, was inspired by my elementary school. I went to this was in the segregated South in the elementary school, a small school called Drew Smith Elementary School.
Mm.
And it was named after Dr. Charles Drew. It's a hyphenated name. And a professor named, a teacher, a local teacher named Andy Smith. I lived in a small black community. And that school was the center of the community. And Andy Smith had taught there for generations. And so they named the school Drew Smith. And the title was sort of a tribute to my elementary education.
Okay. Well, my next question for you is, because I'm looking at these covers, I'm looking at these synopses, and I'm looking at it all. All right. How did you come to publish your first title?
I wrote these books. The first book I wrote was the second one, minus one. And I kept sending it out, and the authors were saying, "This is good," but the publishers were saying, "This is good, but it's not for us." So I put that aside, and then I went on to the second one, Sleepless Nights. And I started going to pitch conferences and pitching the book to editors and publishers, and they're all saying, "Okay, send us the manuscript." And I was still getting the same response: "This is good, but it's not us." You know? So I said, "Well, I'm not getting any younger. I can't keep writing these books and sending them out. And everybody's telling us it's not for us." So I figured at this point, what do they want? And I don't think that the big six publishers were looking for books with an African American male hero. You know, they probably had not an attorney anyway. You know, they had gumshoe books about black detectives, the stuff that Mosby was putting out. I don't think they thought that there was a market for what I was writing. So at that point, I decided I'm going to self-publish. Being a lawyer, I set up my own imprint. I didn't have a lot of money, so I started a Kickstarter campaign to raise money to launch the series.
Okay.
And we put up the first 500 copies in hardback. I launched a Kickstarter project. The project was successful. I put up 5,000 copies. I already had a core readership from my Kickstarter supporters, and that launched my series. And also the sale of those first print, Super Spy Tweet, the second print. And that money has helped finance minus one, which is network just recently came out. The ebook came out February 1st, and the paperback will issue June 1st. And hopefully, if that's a success, which from all indications it's likely that it will be, that will pay for the third book, which is called Snakehead.
Okay.
And Snakehead deals with the human trafficking.
Well,
my characters are from diverse culture, not the reflection of the setting, which is Washington, D.C. and Julio. He met them working in a hotel, a DC hotel. And it sort of reflects the culture in DC. It's very diverse, multicultural. And like Julio has a Filipino girlfriend. So there are Asian characters, there are Latino characters, there are Arab characters, and there are black characters and white characters. So I really try to capture the complexion of DC world. So that's how I published the first book, Sleepless Night. And like I said, the second one is out now, and things are going very well.
Okay. Now this latest one, and like I said, this latest one is out. You say you're doing very well. Have you done any signings so far, or have you done any signings, or you got any signings coming up? Any events coming up for it?
Oh, for the second book.
For the upcoming one, I'm sorry. For the one that.
Actually, I did do a couple of signings. I went to the Virginia Book Festival in Charlottesville a couple of weeks ago. And I sold quite a few advanced copies. And this weekend I attended my reunion at this university, and I saw the whole case out there. And they're big fans for me. They've been watching help launch the first pick. So unfortunately, I didn't have enough books to go. But I have quite a few appearances coming up in the next couple of months. I'm trying to see if I can pull up my calendar. I'm doing a sign up the Hotspot Book Festival here at ABS in Washington, D.C. That's on June 15th.
Okay.
And July 14th, I'm going to be at the Baltimore Urban Book Festival. And on August 16th, I'm going to be at the African American Authors Expo. I'm on a panel there. And so I'm making it in September. I think in September, I'm also on a panel of a conference in Baltimore called Preachers, Crimes, and Creativity. It's basically a bunch of crime authors coming together.
How can I get in on that? Go ahead.
What you say, Russ?
Oh, I'm just kidding. I said, how can I get in on that? That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Swain is the author, I believe. I'm not sure how I got drafted into that. And then, and the latter part of September, I'm going to travel to Memphis for the Black Writers Conference. What's the title of that? The BWABC Literary Festival. And that's in September. So I pretty much have a pretty full calendar. You can see where I'm at every month if you go to my website and pull up the appearances calendar. There's the National Black Book Festival in October. I think that's in Houston. And there's also a local book here in the D.C. area called the Black Authors and Readers Rock Weekend. That weekend, October 18th. That is my schedule right now for the rest of the year, which is pretty good.
Oh, pretty good, very good.
Well, I remember with the first book in 2011, I probably did one event every 2 weeks. It's self-starting, but like I said, things are starting to snowball. And people are learning about my books. They're learning about me. And that's a good thing. It's working out the way I planned.
See.
So I'm hoping that the third book, Snakehead, I'm hoping that, like I said, the third book's a charm. So
now give me right now that's the book. Yeah, that's the book that I'm looking for. Give me a preview of Snakehead. I mean, what exactly does Drew Smith get himself into with Snakehead?
Well, I like to take action events that happen in the D.C. area.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years ago, there was a Chinese-American attorney who was mysteriously killed. He went to spend the night with one of his old law school chums who happened to be gay, and he was involved in some very strange circumstances with his roommate. But the attorney himself was married and straight. But anyway, he did this thing that he had worked a late night. He was just going to stay overnight with his law school roommate because he lived in the suburbs and he didn't want to travel that long distance late at night. So he ended up staying with this old law school chum, and he got murdered in the middle of the night. And it was a big mystery, and it remains a mystery of how this attorney died. So I created the circumstances where, say, there would be an Asian attorney who would go visit the old law school roommate who was gay and would die. Mm-hmm. So he would be killed. And so the mystery behind it would be that he was involved in human trafficking. And I would tie it to, I don't know if you know, the Golden Venture is a ship that was smuggling Chinese illegals into the country, and it sort of sank off the coast of Queens, New York. So I created this sort of situation of intrigue and government agents suppressing information and innocent victims. And so I can't tell you too much now because it's really not.
Well, yeah, you don't want to give too much away, but so basically, is it you just basically just give them something, just give them enough so they can like get the book and find out for themselves. I know what you're saying. Now,
yeah, I just want to give them something to hold on to.
Exactly. Well, do you have anything planned for your release date?
For -1 or Snakehead?
Yeah, for Snakehead.
-1.
Yeah, -1. Yeah, well, let's see, which one is coming out?
-1 is coming out. Well, the ebook is out now. Right. You can download it in Kindle or Nook. But the paperback won't be available from Amazon until June 1st.
Okay.
But no, I don't have anything planned to kick it off. I'm not really doing a big launch because I'm trying to, save it up for the third one. I'm going to go all out for Snakehead.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
But I'm trying to, produce quality books, and I don't want to rush anything, so that everything is going to be very methodic and doing things step by step.
I get you.
Although I know some authors like that. I'm amazed at, I was just familiar with Keith Thomas, Keith Walker Thomas. He puts them out 2, 3 and I talked to him, and I asked him, how do you do it? You know, he really hasn't told me how he does it yet, but it's very prolific. And I wish I could do that. You know, but right now, this is the slow, methodic method is working. You know, it's slow but sure.
Okay. Well, my next question is, I know it says on your website you have a fourth book that's work in progress, but what do you have beyond the fourth book? Do you, where actually do you see, where do you see the Drew Smith series going? Like, let's say after the fourth book, anything else you want to do different with the series, or do you want to do a new book series? How do you want to go after the fourth book is released?
I want the series to rest for a while, and if I have a big fan base and people are asking me for more Drew Smith, then I will. But I want to try something else. I want to get into historical fiction and historical romance, or not necessarily romance, but romantic suspense. And I'd like to do it from a historical perspective. I think African American history is so rich with characters that we have no idea how diverse our history is in terms of heroes and situations, various situations. So I really want to get into history. And of course, one of my inspirations is Beverly Jenkins. I read her book, and she really goes back and writes with a certain fidelity about African American characters and African American situations. You know, the fact that we weren't all slaves, or we weren't all on plantations.
Okay. Well, see, the thing about it is, I'm a huge fan of creating African American heroes because I have a couple of thrillers that involve the African American heroes and African American situations. So basically, you got a kindred spirit right here.
Right.
So my next question to you is, what advice do you have for anyone who's trying to get their book published? For any new authors out there, or just any advice, period, that you may have?
Well, the big advice is study your craft, learn the craft. A lot of people are putting out books and e-books. I mean, they know nothing about voice, they know nothing about characters, and some of them know nothing about spelling and grammar. They're just putting a lot of trash out there. But if you're serious about being a writer, you study your craft. And I think being a good writer requires a long apprenticeship. Some people can just write their first book and be a natural success, but not many. In fact, very few can. But like they say, I think success is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. My advice is work hard at it, put in the time, and just learning how to write. And a writer writes. So I haven't seen too many overnight successes. I've seen some people who become successful in a short time, but they work very hard to get there. And don't let rejection stop. If you're sending your work out, just keep sending it out. And if you get to the point where you're tired of sending it out, then do like I do. Just hire your own editors and get to keep some other people, get beta readers. And when you're ready, you know you're ready. And then jump out there and self-publish if necessary. But a lot of people don't want to be bothered with the business. But like I said, my training in law so prepared me for that. So just a matter of balancing the time with writing and the time with marketing and promoting.
See, that's the one thing. See, I mean, like I say, that's some of the great advice. A lot of new writers really need to know right now. There's so much going on with the markets. My next.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm saying a lot of people are rushing to print ebooks and stuff. And you know, you look at some of this stuff, and I say to myself, why would I waste my money buying some of this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And like I've done book reviews, and that's been some of it. My first reaction. It's got to the point where I don't even want to do book reviews anymore. Or in fact, I will say, well, I don't feel comfortable reviewing this book because it's not the quality that I want to have my name associated with.
And see, that's the thing. When your name is on it, you have to make sure it's a good quality product.
Exactly. And I think some people don't realize that, you know, if they want to sell another book, then, you know, that they got to come right with that first one. Or else who's going to buy you?
You know, because
the names can be associated with, you know, bad books. And you don't want that.
I told you this man knew what he was talking about. Basically, if you do not know the basics of writing a story, you do not need to put together a book. You need to know how to tell a story. Now, Norwood is also a man who was paid his dues, he's weighed all his options, and it worked out for him. He has a great book series. Now, when we come back, we're going to chat with our friend Barbara Grovner about her book, Clothesline Blues, and we're going to talk a little bit about her career. Stay tuned.
Have you checked out the Author's Corner lately? It's the best show you're not watching. Every 2 weeks, we bring you author interviews, news, and the best of the industry. With special guests, it's no wonder it's the fastest growing show around. There are 2 ways to check me out. Log on to my website at www.hdcampbell3.net or my YouTube channel at hdcampbell1230. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Have you checked out the new H.D. Campbell Productions website lately? It has new interactive features. More information on books, services, shows, and more. Check out videos, slideshows, and more at www.hdcampbell3.net. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome back to the Author's Corner with H.D.
Welcome back to the Author's Corner. If titles like Even Numbers and Cold Cereal mean anything to you, then you're thinking of Barbara Grovner. Barbara Grovner has a 4-time author who's written everything from across the board. She has a mystery series. She wrote a very good series about a woman who's been abused. And now she has her latest thriller, which is a historical fiction, but it focuses on something very, very personal. It's called Clothesline Blues. You can find out more during the interview coming up right now. General, what got you into writing?
I think that, you know, I've always written. I've always been a writer. Even as a child, I guess low self-esteem or just being shy, I wrote my thoughts down rather than speaking to a person. I'd hand someone a note. So everything came out on paper. But it wasn't until I think about 2007 that I was able to dedicate more time to it. I'm home now, retired, and I'm able to work on my books and my writing 100%. I first became published in 2007 with Even Numbers, so that was my first professional writing.
Now tell me a little bit about Even Numbers.
Even Numbers is really my baby. It's a short book, maybe about 100 few pages, but it's about a little girl who was molested by her stepdad. and then ultimately raised by him. So it touches on a lot of emotional subjects and topics. And I didn't realize the impact the book would have until I went on book tour for that book and realized how many women, just about every woman I've ever known, and the hundreds of strangers that I knew after writing the book, have been through this or know someone who's been this. And that includes men. Men know women who have been through this, maybe their family members or friends. This has touched molestation, and child rape has touched everyone.
Okay. Now, did you do a follow-up to that eventually?
No, I haven't. I've been asked to do it. I just kind of put it on a back because I have my mind, a couple more in my head.
You actually sent me, I don't know if you remember, you sent it to me years ago.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a very, very personal story. Not particularly my story, but someone that I knew based on that. It is written as fiction, though.
Right. Well, like I say, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it pretty much so put me through the motions because to know it exists, but to actually, I don't want to give the book away, but to know it exists, but to put a personal spin on it, it really tugs at your heart pretty much.
Right. And then to get into the mind of the perpetrator was just,
Exactly.
Sometimes I had to get up and walk away from it while I was writing it.
Oh, I know you did.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say this real fast. This is how you know that you're a great writer. When you're so emotional into the story that you feel you have to walk away from your own story, that's what makes you a great writer.
Yes, I learned that was just while I was writing Even Numbers. I learned that. I didn't think it would have that type of an impact on me, but it did. I had to get up and sometimes leave that thing alone for a couple of days and then take a deep breath, regroup, refocus, and come back to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, my next question is, let's go into your newest title.
Okay, Clothesline Blues. Yes.
Yeah. Give me, hold on one second before I get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before I get into Clothesline Blues, first tell me how long you've been writing.
Professionally since 2007. But like I said, I've always written, before that. But professionally, I was first published, actually, I started writing professionally in 2006. My first professional publication was in 2007. Okay,
and who was your publisher?
At the time, it was Third Eye Publishing, independent company out of New York.
Okay. Now we'll get into Clothesline Blues. I'm sorry. So give me a synopsis of Clothesline Blues.
Just when I hear you say Clothesline Blues, I get excited. It's I've always wanted to do historical fiction because I read historical fictions. And so I took a chance in doing it. I had written 2 other murder mysteries prior to this, but I was still wanting to do the historical fiction. So I wrote Clothesline Blues, and it's basically a fictional story that is centered around Bloody Sunday in the 60s. The main character, Hilda, is a woman who's in turmoil with her husband, and she and her girlfriend come up with this big, elaborate scheme to get rid of her husband. So there is murder. That's my favorite. I love writing murder mysteries. So there is murder in there, and then there's the history. And it's done during the Black movement in the 60s. So it's really exciting. It's very exciting.
Well, I'm going to just go out on a limb and just say this. Pretty much so from the trailer to the book itself to the synopsis, you have a deep, solid story here that actually conveyed a message. What actually was when you did the trailer? What would go through your head when you were like, because this is a very deep trailer that you also have too.
Yeah, well, it touches on our civil rights movement in the 60s. I was a young teenager at that time, and I actually remember the Black Panthers coming into my town and turning it in, and the whole city was turned upside down with the rioting and the snipers on the roofs, and and the burning of the buildings and all of that. So I have a vivid memory personally about that. Although this is not my story, I pulled from that. A lot of that came from my memory as a child, as a young teenager.
Well,
right down to there's a little store in the story that gets burned to the ground, and I remember going to that store every day for penny candy. So that was,
and you
pretty emotional writing that too.
Exactly. I know you can't pass by that store now, with the store not being there, but you can't even pass by that building or that area anymore without feeling something.
Oh, so, I always feel it. And I go back every year. I go back home. I'm going home actually in about a week or so. I go there every year, and it always invokes the same feelings and the same memories.
And so, how long did it take you to write this story?
It seems to be an average with me. I don't know what it is, because Even Numbers was it was basically a novella, and then Clothesline Blues was almost 3 times as big, as large, and they both took me about a year.
Okay. Well, I've been stalking you. I'm sorry. I stalked my friends, and you included, especially when they're female. But no, I've been looking at your reviews. You have a lot of good reviews. All right, I'm back. Sorry. I hope that wasn't too loud.
No, that's okay. I'm fine.
Okay. All right. My next question. I know this is early. I know this is very early because Clothesline Blues is taking off and you got a lot of stuff going on. But do you have any other projects you're working on as of right now?
Yes, actually with Clothesline Blues, I really enjoyed the story myself, and it still plays back in my head almost every day. So I decided to take one of the characters, a character that was growing within Clothesline Blues, and use her as a main character in another historical fiction. So I'm going to try my hand at it again and do another historical fiction.
Okay, pretty cool. So where can I buy a copy of Clothesline Blues?
At this time, you can buy an ebook copy at Amazon.com, as well as the paperback at Amazon.com. I'm with the KBP program now, so the ebook is only available through Amazon.com. And the actual paperback is available at Amazon.com and CreateSpace.com.
Nice. Okay. Well, now I'm going to get my flirting powers in. How can I get to know Miss Barbara Grovner? Where can we, do you have a website? Where can we get to know you?
Yeah, you can visit my website. I'm still working on my website, but please stop by. It's www.bgrovner.com.
Okay. I'll definitely direct them there. And now, do you have any events, tours, signings, anything coming up?
No, I don't. I don't have anything immediately scheduled, but I'm hoping for the fall to get a few things scheduled and get in contact. I'm recently moved too, so I need to get a home-based bookstore in the area. I had one where I lived, where I could drop in any day and do a book signing, but I need to get more established in the area that I am. So I'm hoping that between the fall and Christmas, I'll have a few engagements that I can list.
Okay. Now, again, we've been friends for a long time. We both started out as baby authors.
Yeah.
Now, so now I want you, since you're a baby author with me, I want you to get the final word. What do you have? Do you have any advice for any new authors or artists out there?
I always say the same thing when I'm asked this question. If you are an aspiring author or just thinking about it, stick to your dream. Don't stop. Don't ever stop. Whether you're published or not, there's still a gratification in beginning a writing project and ending one. So don't stop. And I'd also like to this time to thank my readers for their continued support. It's so humbling, so heartwarming.
Well,
to see so many
I hope
people
you enjoyed our show for today. That's it.
In my journey. I appreciate that so much.
Enjoy
And,
Sunday's
I
best.
love you.
So you see Lici
So,
Lewis, all the other
thank
great
you again for
contestants.
this opportunity.
Come back when we have 3 more new powerful authors this Friday on an all-new Authors Corner. Thank you. Let your writing fuel your spirit, and a wonderful God bless.